Hi everyone, in this video I'll be going through 2022 Sec 2 G3 Math, the test, so make sure you have completed this test first before watching this video to see how I work through the questions. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, let's look at question 1. The intensity I is inversely proportional, so I always highlight important key terms from the question. I is inversely proportional to the square of distance d. Okay, so therefore if I have to write this into an equation, I is inversely proportional, so means that I is equal to k over the square of distance d. So this is k over d squared. Okay, then over here I'm given the important information here that I is equal to 15 when the radioactive source is 1800 units, meaning that when over here when I is equal to 15, not when I is equal to 15. Okay, over here, the intensity, this line tells us that when the intensity is 1800 units, the distance is 15 meters. Okay, so the cause intensity is 1800 units when at a distance of 15 meters away. Okay, so based on this information over here, I can now sub into the equation here. So therefore, this means that 1800 is equal to k over 15 squared. Okay, then from here I can find the value of k. K is equal to 1800 times 15 squared. Key this in the calculator, you should get 405,000. Okay, so therefore answer for this equation, this means that therefore I is equal to 405,000 over d squared. And that is the answer for part 1. Okay, I is equal to 405,000 over d squared. Okay, let's now look at part 2. If the intensity of radiation is 50 units, determine the distance between the point and the radioactive source. So this just means that when I is equal to 50, I want to find d, the distance. So I sub into this equation here. When I is equal to 50, 50 is equal to 405,000 divided by d squared. Okay, so this means that if we do it step by step and we cross multiply, this means that 50d squared is equal to 405,000. So therefore, d squared is equal to 405,000 divided by 50. Okay, then I'll get the value for d squared, which is equal to 8,100. Okay, therefore, to find d, to get rid of a square, I will take square root on both sides. This means that d is equal to, remember when I square root an unknown, there should be a plus minus square root of 8,100. Okay, maybe I didn't write this clearly. I write it clearly again. This should be 8100. Okay, so therefore, over here, I will get two answers. D is equal to 90 or negative 90. Then we check the context of the question. D here means distance. As you know, distance cannot be negative. So over here, I'll rejected, as distance is always more than 0. Okay, therefore, answer to this question, D is equal to 90 meters. Okay, this is for part 2. Alright, so let's now move on to question number 2. Okay, 2a. I highlight important information from the question again. Y is directly proportional to the square root of x. So in the equation, this means that y equals to k times square root of x. Okay, so that it is known that y equals to 2 for a particular value of x. So therefore, it means that when y is equal to 2, I will have the equation 2 equals to k square root x. And since I know that k is always a fixed constant, this means that when y is equal to 2, the constant is 2 over square root x. Now the question here says, find the value of y when the value of x is increased by 300%. I sense that many of you will get confused at this part here. Value of x increased by 300%. What does it mean? Let me break apart this part more slowly over here. Okay, imagine x, original x. Original, I only have x. Okay, if I say increase by 100%, how many x will you think I will have? At first, I only have 1 x. I increase the original x by 100%. It means that I'm increasing it, I'm doubling it. So it will become 2x. Okay? If I were to increase, let me do it step by step. if I were to increase the original x, okay, maybe I drew arrows so it's clearer. Okay, now I try again from the original x. Now I increase by 200%. How many of the x do you think I would have? At first, I have 1x. I increase by 100% because 100% is x, right? If I increase by 100%, I'll become 2x. If I increase by 200%, 100% is x. If I increase by 200%, means I'm increasing by 2x. Therefore, I will have, this will be original x plus 200% means 2x. This is actually equals to 3x. Okay, so I hope you can see, even though the question here says 200%, it doesn't mean this must be 2x. This is actually x plus 2x. So likewise, for this question here, if I'm increasing by 300%, what does it actually mean? It means that my original x here, I increase by 3 times of x, which is x plus 3x. Therefore, I should have 4x now, after I've increased x by 300%. Okay, so therefore, now I have 4x. So this means that now, for this question here, okay, when x is increased by 300%, this means that when x is equal to, when new x is 4x, find the value of y. I know that y will now be equals to k times square root of, now instead of x, the new x will become 4x. Okay, then now let me simplify from here. Okay, k times square root 4x, this can actually be simplified to, over here, square root of 4 is actually 2. So I can take out this 4 here, I'm just left with square root x. So what I mean is that this is simply k times square root of 4 is 2 times square root of x, which means that this is equal to 2k square root x. Okay, so over here, if you may find it hard to visualize, this is a square root 4x within this square root here. If I were to take out the 4, square root of 4 is 2, I can take out this to become k times 2 times square root x. Okay, the x will remain in this square root here, but I'm taking out the 4 by taking a square root of 4, which will give me 2. Then I combine everything together to become y equals to 2k times square root x. Okay, so that means that my new y value is here, and I go back to what the question tell me first. In the original equation, k is equal to this. So I can now sub this value of k inside this value of k over here to simplify even further. So this means that y is equal to 2 times 2 over square root x, okay, times square root x. Okay, then you notice over here, this, everything will multiply to the numerator. This will become 4 square root x. This square root x will go to the numerator as well. Same thing as this 2 here, over square root x. Then I can cancel out square root x, and your answer will be simply equals to 4. Okay, so therefore answer for question 2a is equal to 4. Okay, this is slightly trickier and harder, so take your time to slowly digest what this question is asking you to find. Alright, let's now look at question 2b. Okay, 5 men can paint 2 identical houses in 3 days. How long will it take for 6 men to paint 7 of such houses? For such questions, usually I like to do the ratio method. I identify 3 quantities. Okay, over here I see men, number of houses, and days. So I can rewrite this to become men 2, houses 2 days. Okay, so over here I have 5 men can paint 2 houses in 3 days. Okay, so over here, before we try to solve, I want to find, in the end, 6 men to paint 7 houses. How many days do I need? So over here, in order to do that first, we must first identify between men, houses, and days, whether it's directly proportionate or inverse proportionate. So what I can do is that, over here, relate men and houses. If I have more men, I can paint more houses. So therefore, this is directly proportional. Okay, direct proportion. Okay, maybe I write clearly. Direct proportion. Okay. If I have more men, I will need less days. I hope you can see that. More men needs less days, so this is inverse proportion. Okay, and if I want to paint more houses, I will also need more days. So therefore, between houses and days, this is direct. Okay, I will just write direct over here. Okay, so let's now turn this. I want to turn from 5 men to become, let's say, 6 men. Okay, so over here, what I can do is that I can now simplify this. Okay, let's work it out step by step. Whenever we do the visual question, we always keep one number constant, then we change the other two. Okay, so let's say I want to find, if I want to find 6 men, first I should reduce it to 1 man first. Okay, so over here, let's keep houses constant. Okay, if I want to get 1 man, means here I divide by 5. Okay, since men and days are in inverse proportion, if the number of men becomes smaller, number of days will increase. So by proportionate value, this will be times 5. Number of days will become 15 days. Okay, therefore from here, now I want to find, therefore, if I have 5 men and I keep houses constants, how many days will I need? So over here, this from 1 man to 5 men, I multiply by 5 days, therefore I'll divide by 5. Divide by 5. What am I doing? This one should be, I want to get 6 men, so over here should be times 6, okay? Times 6, I want to get 6 men. Therefore, my days I have to divide by 6. So over here, I have to take 15 divided by 6. Okay? Then I'll get over here 2.5 days. Alright, so now I got 6 men. Now I need to get 7 houses. So we can do it step by step again. Okay, so over here, now I got men correct already. I leave men constant. Now let's say to get 7 houses, let's turn this number to 1 house first. Okay, I turn this to 1 house. Means over here I divide by 2. Okay, since houses and days are in direct proportion, if houses decrease, the days will also decrease. So therefore, my days I also divide by 2. To get 1 house, I'll need 1.25 days. Okay, 1.25 days. Now, last step. In order to get 7 houses, I will now multiply my houses and days by 7 times 7. So therefore, over here, 1.25 times 7 is equal to 8.75. Okay, so therefore, answer to the question, how long will it take for 6 men to paint 7 of such houses? I will need 8.75 days. And that's the answer to this question. Okay, of course, you can also use the other method by forming the equation. Up to you. As long as you know how to identify the correct proportion and use the correct equations, those are also okay. Alright. Okay, let's now look at question number 3. Question number 3 here. I'm given this scale over here. Remember, a scale written like this in ratio means that the units are the same. So this means that 1 cm is to 50,000 cm. So let's now work out the scale, convert it to km. Okay, I know that 1 cm to 50,000 cm. I convert it step by step. This means that 1 cm is to, convert cm to meters first, divide by 100, this will become 500 meters. Convert to km now, 1 cm is 2, divide by 1000, 0.5 km. Okay, so from here, now if I want 15 cm, I multiply 0.5 by 15, I'll get 7.5 km. Okay, therefore answer to this question is 7.5. Okay, next one. I'm given area. Find the area on the map, which means that now I need to go from a length scale to an area scale. Since I'm given a km square, I will choose the length scale over here. Let me highlight in blue. I will choose this length scale here to get area scale. Okay, I will square the length scale. So area scale, I will square the length scale here. So this means that 1 cm square is to 0.5. Square this whole thing, I'll get 0.25 km square. Okay, so therefore, I know that on 1 cm square on the map is equal to 0.25 km square in real life. In real life, if the area is 116 cm square, what is the area on the map? So very simply, therefore, area on map is equal to the big area 116 km square divided by every cm square on the map is 0.25 km square. Therefore, area on the map is simply equals to 464 cm square. Okay, and that's the answer to question B part 1. Okay, let's now look at part 2 over here. The area of lake in now on another map is 2,900 cm square. Okay, and over here the question is write this scale of the map in the form of 1 is to n. Okay, so over here let's now look at this area of this lake first. On the map, 2,900 cm square. In actual life, in real life, the area is this. Okay, so therefore what I can do is that I can simply take right top first over here on the map to actual area. Okay, actual area. Map is 2,900 cm square. Actual area is 116 km square. Okay, so therefore usually we want to write scale of map in the form of 1 is to n. I need to convert this to the same unit under cm. So over here, instead of cm square to km square, let's convert this to cm units first. So from here you can see that let me write this means that if I want to get 1 cm square, I have to divide by 2,900. Okay, so that means on the right side here, I divide by 2,900, I will get to 0.04 km square. Okay, this is the area scale. Now convert to length scale. Length scale, I must square root. Okay, from here to here I must take square root. Remember when we convert from length to area, we square both sides. Now the opposite, the inverse of square is the square root. I will square root 1 and square root 0.04. So you press in your calculator, you should get 1 cm is to 0.2 km. Okay, if I square root 0.04, I get 0.2. Then from here, if I want to write in this ratio form here, the units must be the same. So I now convert km to cm. This is 1 cm is to 0.2 convert to meters first times 1,000. This will become 200 meters. And therefore, 1 cm is to 200 meter convert to cm times 100. This will be 20,000 cm. Therefore, in ratio form, it will be 1 to 20,000. Okay, so therefore answer to this part over here would be 1 to 20,000. And this is for this part of the question. Okay, let's now look at question number 4. Question number 4, triangle ABC is similar to triangle ACN. ABC, ACN. Okay, remember the vertices will match. Okay, when we talk about similar triangles, find angle A and C. Okay, so over here I know that since these two triangles are similar, it means that if within this triangle over here, I want to find this unknown angle here. Okay, so if I look at this triangle, then let's see if I know this angle. Okay, since the triangles are similar, it means that the vertices are matching. So I know angle ABC is 46. And I know that ABC will match with ACN. So therefore, this means that angle ACN is equal to angle ABC. And this angle here is the same as this angle over here. Okay, by matching vertices in similar triangles. Okay, so therefore, this angle here is also 46 degrees. Okay, therefore, in this triangle, to find this unknown angle here, is simply angle sum in a triangle. Therefore, angle A and C is equal to 180 degrees minus away 29 degrees minus away 46 degrees. Then we state the reason because this is angle sum of triangle equals to 180 degrees. Therefore, you'll get your final answer to be 105 degrees. Okay, and this is for part 1. Okay. Next part. Find the ratio of BC is to CN. Okay, so over here, to find ratio, we usually have to, it means a fraction. So over here, how do we do that? Okay, first I look at the triangle here. BC is to CN. It is the length of these different triangles. So let's try to form any ratio that we can find first. Okay, I know that in these two similar triangles, I can form ratio of the corresponding sides. So this means that by matching vertices, okay, this means that the length AB over AB here over AC is equal to, next one, AC over AN, AC in the big triangle over small triangle AN. Then the last one is BC over CN. BC over CN. Okay. Then now let's sub in the values that we know so that we can see which equation I can use. I know that AB is this length here, is actually 4 plus 5. So I know that this value here is 9 over AC is unknown equals to AC over AN. AN over here is 4 equals to BC over CN. This one I also don't know what is BC over CN. Okay, that means that over here, based on this equation here, I can only use this equation here to solve for AC. Okay, so let's work from here. Okay, this means that 9 over AC is equal to AC over 4. A fraction on both sides of the equation, I can cross multiply. This means that AC whole thing square is equal to 9 times 4, which is 36. So therefore, AC is equal to plus minus square root of 36, which is equal to 6 or negative 6. And we know that AC is a length. We reject negative 6 as AC is more than 0. Okay. So over here, therefore, since I know that AC now is the length here is 6. Okay. So ratio of BC over CN. Ratio of BC over CN, you can just see this is the same as the ratio of AC over 4. Right? So over here, we can see that therefore, BC over CN is equal to AC over 4. Correct? Based on this equation here. And I know that AC is 6. Therefore, this ratio here is 3 over 2. Okay, so therefore, this means that based on this fraction over here, okay, I know that therefore BC is to CN is equal to 3 is to 2. Okay, and that's how we get the answer to part 2. 3 is to 2. Okay, and hence, given that the length of BC is 4.75, so over here, length of BC is 4.75, find the length of CN. So very simply, since I know the ratio is 3 is to 2, if length of BC is 4.75, this means that this is 3 units. How to find 2 units? Very simply, therefore, CN is equal to 4.75 divided by 3 units times 2. Okay, based on this ratio here, BC is 3 units, CN is 2 units. So if I know that the actual length is 4.75 cm, and I want to find the length of CN, I divide by 3 units and then times 2 units. Okay, so over here, this will be equals to, I can leave this in mixed fraction, it will be 3, 1 over 6 cm. Okay, and this will be the answer to part 3. Alright, okay, let's now look at the last question now, question number 5. Area of triangle ABC has these sides here. Show that it's a right angle triangle and state the right angle. So very simply, to show that something is a right angle triangle, we must use the converse of Pythagoras theorem. So first we identify the longer side. This is obviously the longer side. So this should be the hypotenuse. Okay, hypotenuse. So therefore, how do we show by the converse of Pythagoras theorem? We first show longer side. AC square is equal to 17 square, and this is equal to 289. Then now I show the sum of the two shorter sides, okay, which is AB square plus BC square. This is equal to 8 square plus 15 square. Okay, this is equal to also equals to 289. So therefore, I've shown that the sum of the square of the two shorter sides of the triangle is equal to the square of the longer side of the triangle. So therefore, over here, this means that, therefore, by the converse, important to state this is the converse of Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem. Okay. Since AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square equals to 289, therefore, triangle ABC is a right angled triangle. And how do we know which angle is the right angle? Let's simply draw the triangle. Okay. I know that AC is the hypotenuse. AC. This is 17 cm, right? Which means that this side here must be B. Okay. Therefore, right angle is always opposite the hypotenuse. And angle ABC is the right angle. And this is the answer to part A. Okay. Alright, so let's look at part B now. In the diagram here, light enters a room through window AB. This is the window here. Okay, reaching level ground CD. Given the length here, this is 0.45, 0.8, 1.5, and AD is 2.7. Find the length CD here. Okay, so very simply over here, I must first find out what is the length. To find the length of CD, I need to find the length of this big triangle here, this length, minus away the length of this length over here. Okay, so over here, by Pythagoras theorem, we can see that I can first find out what is this length first in this small triangle, because I know the other two sides. Okay, so I know that by Pythagoras theorem, BC square is equal to OB square plus OC square. This is in the small triangle first. Okay. Then now I sub in the values. So this means that 1.5 square is equal to OB square plus 0.8 square. So therefore, this means that OB square is equal to 1.5 square minus 0.8 square. Okay. Therefore, from here, OB is simply equals to the positive root of 1.5 square minus 0.8 square. Okay, we reject the negative as OB is positive. Okay. Therefore, this means that OB is equal to square root of 1.61. Okay, so therefore I know that this length over here now is square root of 1.61. Okay, now I shift this to one side. I make this smaller. Oops. Okay, now I found the length of OB already. Good. Now I can find the length of OD in this big triangle, since I got this other two sides now. Okay, so over here, this means that in the big triangle now, okay, big triangle AD square is equal to AO square plus OD square. Okay, so therefore to find the length of OD square, okay, or OD is simply equals to square root of the hypotenuse square, which is 2.7 square, minus away the length of the other side. So length of the other side is simply 0.45 plus square root of 1.61, the whole thing square. Okay, this is length of OD, which is equal to 2.08219 if you press on the calculator. Take note, this is not the final answer yet. I don't round this off to 3SF. I leave it as at least 5 to 6 SF for accuracy. Okay, therefore from here, now I know the length of OD. Last step, to find the length of CD, I simply minus away 0.8. Okay, therefore from here, CD is equal to the length of OD, which is 2.08219 minus away 0.8. Final answer to this question can round off to 3SF. 1.28 meters, answer in 3SF. Okay, and therefore, answer to this question is 1.28. Alright, that's all for this paper. I hope that this helps you to better understand how the questions are solved, and I hope that you're able to complete these questions now by yourself. Okay.